That's my baby. I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Good evening, everyone. Sports Hounds live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brickman. Frank Vesby behind the scenes producing the program. Live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Twitter and Periscope, live on Instagram. Like, subscribe, share anywhere. Download this podcast form anywhere you get your podcasts. Sports Hounds, all the A2D radio content here brought to you by our doc, make him yours too, Dr. Paul Vidal, specialized physical therapy, 2 locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill. Also, Body Check Wellness is a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off. Also, A2D Radio Sports Hounds brought to you by many of us in our families are dealing with mental health and addiction issues. Visit the Sunrise Detox Center. Tell them Tom Arnone sent you, 856-651-8117. Obviously, tell them A2D Radio sent you. Tell them Tom Arnone sent you. Got a lot to talk about tonight. We got an NL East preview tonight. We've done the AL East. We've done the NL West. We're going to do the NL East tonight. I was going to try and hold off on the NL East, but I'm just itching to talk about the Phillies and the NL East and what I think is the best division in baseball. Dak Prescott, he got himself paid, Brad, 4 years, $160 million, 126 of that guaranteed. So I wish he wasn't a Cowboy so I could admire him for betting on himself, but I like guys who bet on themselves and win.
Well, you know what? When he was healthy last year, they scored a hell of a lot of points. And I have no doubt last year they would have made the playoffs if he was healthy.
Oh, they would have walked.
Yeah, they would have.
They would have walked, yeah.
They wouldn't have gone. They wouldn't have gone 6-10, I can tell you that.
And then, you got to think that this signing, even though they're a flawed football team on the defensive side of the ball and somewhat up front, they talk about if they're the favorites in the East.
Well, before we make them favorites of the East, let's see how the draft goes and let's see what happens with free agency before Dallas starts tooting their horn. So I'm not gonna put them up there yet. A little early. Let's just hold our horses a little bit.
And then we got a little inspiration. We got a little inspiration from watching hockey over the weekend. Tom Wilson being a crumb. Ridiculous.
Always is.
Outrageous boarding penalty. Shooting board against the Boston Bruins. So, we're going to talk about some Philly, hated athletes in Philly, and we're going to talk about some hated athletes in New York, and maybe guys we just hate, period. We're going to talk about some hate. We're going to get it out.
Let's get some hate
out. Get it out. We're going to hate. And then we are 6 days away from Selection Sunday. So we've hired an intern. We're calling in the big guns for the tournament. We have Chase Robbins on deck next week. He's 10 years old. He knows all the teams. He knows all the stats. He knows everything about college basketball. So he's coming on next week to give his bracket picks. And I'll have my bracket picks. You'll have your bracket picks. I'm sure the fam out there will have their bracket picks. I'm itching. Brad, to have a bracket in my hand because I love college basketball, and I was absolutely devastated last year.
Once we get our once we get the official brackets and everything, it should be fun.
But we got cheated out of it last year.
Yeah, I know we did.
We totally cheated out of it.
I know, and it made it. And you know what? It also made it very hard if you were drafting to really know who to draft.
Yeah,
which may explain why some of the really good rookies this year were drafted later in the draft because nobody really knew a lot other than maybe Wiseman and some of the maybe the top 2-3 guys. Nobody really knew who the rest of them were.
But like I said it last week, I think we've been talking about the last couple weeks when we were going in on the NBA. Like I think The Sixers got an incredible value with Tyrese Maxey because of the pandemic, and no one. And I think that your Knicks got a great value with Emmanuel Quickly at pick 25.
I think he's 100 times better than Tobin, and who would have ever thought that?
Yeah, Obi Toppin. Yeah, he went 7th,
8th, I think.
8th, and he got hurt, and he's not doing anything.
All he could do is dunk. His game's pretty limited. He's young. I mean, you got to give him a chance, I guess, to work on his game, play some summer league basketball. You never know. Some of these guys. I mean, look at R.J. Barrett from last year to this year. I mean, he's become a much, much better player. And look at Randall. He's another one who was barely above average last year, and now all of a sudden he's an all-star. So
it's amazing how Calipari gets these Kentucky guys to just all they do is sign $100 million in the pros.
Yeah,
all they do is lottery.
It's remarkable.
The easiest recruiting job ever. Hey, you want to go to the NBA, make $100 million, be a lottery pick? Sign here, play here for a year. Give me a year.
Yeah,
give me a year, Tyrese Maxey, and you're going, and you'll make $100 million one day. I mean, Anthony Davis, John Wall,
Emmanuel Quickly.
I mean, we can go on.
He was on Kentucky,
and we're gonna have to monitor the NBA trade deadline. Obviously, they're on a little break right now. The All-Star game last night, minus Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They had some COVID issues with their barber.
Do you really care? I mean, that All-Star game's a joke.
It is a joke, but I would have liked to. I didn't watch it all because my guys, Joe and Ben, weren't in there.
It's a joke because you know what? When you have guys picking teams, come on, let's play the East against the West, or have divisions like, you know what? At least the NHL, as much as everybody makes fun of their All-Star games, I like what the NHL does. Each division, they have each division play each other. You know, the All-Stars of each division play against each other. So, you know, you root for your own division to win. Yeah, there's actually a rooting interest. I mean, who cares if LeBron James's All-Stars beat up Kevin Durant's All-Stars? Do you really care?
I don't know.
You know, I mean, it's really, to me, it's silly.
And then it's like a joke. I don't even understand it. I'm checking in on it. Like they reset the game, and the third quarter is different than the first quarter. I don't even understand what's going on. I don't get it. I'm just not that smart and don't understand it. But I mean, the NBA All-Star game, it's a joke.
There's no. I mean, they're just. I mean, these guys are just into it, just showing off their brands. They're not into playing basketball. Nobody plays any defense. Nobody tries to block a shot. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, when guys go to the basket to get a dunk, it's like everybody moves out of the way so they can get their little.
Yeah, no one's playing D. No one's playing D. You're absolutely right.
That's. I mean, I know they don't do that in hockey either, but at least when the divisions are playing, we know who we're going to root for. Okay, we root for our division. You know, for one day, Claude Giroux and Artemi Panarin can be on the same team. You know, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to see something like that.
Panarin, man, I need him back. Brad, for my fantasy hockey team. I'm like 1-8. My team stinks.
So do the Rangers. They need him back in the worst way.
I need him to start lighting the lamp because he's suspended. He's not available. I can't even put him on an IR spot.
But he's not suspended. Yeah, he's not suspended.
Point being, I can't put him on my IR spot, so I'm out of guy.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah,
my fantasy hockey. I mean, I'm taking my lumps this year, and maybe next year I'll get it together.
That's just bad luck, though. Let's be honest. I mean, if first he gets injured and now all of a sudden he's hiding from Putin. I guess. I mean, I don't really understand the whole semantics of why he's not playing. I don't really get it. It's not. I thought that he might have had to go to Russia to protect his family or something like that. But it almost seems to me like he's being blackmailed. Like if he plays hockey, they're gonna do something to his family. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know. Really a screwy situation.
Last thing I'll say before we get into our poll question tonight is Sixers fans out there that are worried that Joe and Ben might have to quarantine and be subject to the whatever 14-day period, just relax. Just relax. They'll get a nice little break. They'll come back refreshed. They'll probably make a trade in that time. and just relax. It's going to be okay with Joe and Ben getting COVID from their barber. It's going to be okay. Sixers are still going to the finals. Still going to the finals.
I would totally disagree with that, but that's
I know, because you're enamored with the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are going to fall.
Yeah, you can't cover them. You just don't have enough offense to deal with them. No, not even close.
Well, I agree with that. That's why they need to make a trade.
Embiid can't outscore 3 superstars. I mean, as great as Ben Simmons is, and he is a great player, I'll give you that.
They're going to hit him in the mouth, Brad. They're going to play defense, and they're going to grind it out. Yeah, and they're going to beat the Nets in 5 games.
But they can shoot threes, too. What are you going to do? Commit fouls when they're outside shooting threes?
You want to have it like Tommy always say. You want to have a crown party. You want to crown the Nets. Go right ahead. I ain't crowning the Nets.
Well,
Sixers in 5.
I think the Nets are going to sweep them.
They might sweep them. I mean, the Sixers might sweep the Nets if they make a smart trade.
I think the Nets are going to sweep the Sixers. The Sixers can't score enough to stop the Nets. No. They just can't. Just too much. Unless they're injured. I mean, if the Sixers are injured or the Nets are injured, we'll see. If everybody's healthy, there's no way you win that series.
Fucking 6 years together, I haven't taught you a damn thing. I try with the basketball.
I know.
They're going to get hit in the mouth. Everyone's got a great game plan until they get hit in the mouth. And the Brooklyn Nets are going to get hit in the mouth by the Philadelphia 76ers, and they're going to fold like a cheap tent.
They may end up having to play the Knicks in the first round and have all kinds of crazy pressure on them to have to beat the Knicks, and we'll see what happens.
Brad, your Knicks are.
But that would be a pressure cooker beyond belief for Brooklyn. I mean,
the Nets are
the Nets are way better than the Knicks. The Knicks can cover them.
The Knicks are a cute little story, and it looks like they're on their way to being back, which is good for the NBA. It's good for the East. It's good for everything, in my opinion.
A long way to go, Rob. We know that. We know. I mean, we're not unrealistic. We know what the deal is with the Knicks. Let's make the playoffs this year. Try maybe win a couple of playoff games and go out looking. Go out with a little pride. Win a couple of games. Give us something to hang our hats on over the summer, and then hopefully in the off season they can improve with all the salary cap space, and then go get them next year. That's really all you can ask for.
I don't even know who won. Who even won, Bill Middlebrook? The Team Durant. I had Team Durant +4.
LeBron's team won 170 to 150. 170. 170 to 150.
Oh, 150. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said 170 to 50.
No, 170 to 150.
So I lost. So Team Durant did not cover the 4 point spread.
What kind of stupid game is that? That's 170 to 150. I mean, come on. I mean, really?
All right. Let's get into our poll question. Our poll question each every week brought to you by Philly Drinkers LLC. Visit phillydrinkers.com. Click on the ATD Radio Collection. Get shirts like this, coffee cups, travel mugs, winter hats, ugly Christmas sweaters, everything. Philly Drinkers got all your ATD merchandise needs. Visit phillydrinkers.com. Poll question of the night, NL East preview. The Philadelphia Phillies will win the NL East, Brad. And, I made this poll question because I'm Phillied up. I really am Phillied up. I think they're going to have a pretty good team. I did think that they missed an opportunity with Jake Odorizzi. I'd have liked to have seen him brought in, at the last second, but he goes to Houston. And whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, but he's not good, though.
But he's a good 4th starter for the Phillies. I wanted so bad to come on here.
But he's not a difference maker, though.
Depends what you're asking him to do. But overall, I guess I agree.
Listen again, and I kind of look at it from a Yankee standpoint. Every time he faces the Yankees beat the hell out of him. He never lasts more than 5 innings against the Yankees. So
I know, but Brad, in case you haven't noticed that the Yankees are really good, and it's hard to pitch against their lineup.
I understand that.
It's not really a fair.
When a guy pitches well against the Yankees, I noticed that too. Zach Wheeler pitched pretty well against the Yankees. I give him all kinds of credit when he pitched to the Mets. He had one bad game against the Yankees in all the years he pitched against them. One bad game. That's pretty good.
But anyway, I wanted so bad to come on here and just stand on my hill and just yell and scream at you about how the Phillies are going to win the NL East, but I can't do it. I have to disagree with this poll question. I do, however, think that the Phillies are going to make the 5th wild card. I do think the bullpen is going to be improved.
Yeah,
I think Bryce.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I think they could do that.
But I mean, I look at the East, and Atlanta's just loaded. They're just loaded in every sense of the word. So I have to disagree with the poll. The Phillies aren't going to win the NL East, but I do have them in the playoffs as a wild card team. And I think that over 80.5 wins, which is what it is on DraftKings, their win total, I think they fly.
I think they'll win more than 80.
I think they fly over that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's an easy bet.
I think you're going to be seeing something like somewhere between 88 and 74, and maybe 90 and 72 in that general area. I think is probably more realistic of what you're going to get.
So obviously you disagree. You disagree with the poll question.
Yeah, I just don't think they're good enough. They're good enough to compete with Atlanta or the Nationals right now. It's going to be very tough, you know. And the Mets are improved. I'm not saying the Mets are going to win either. Okay, I'm just saying that they're an improved team. So it's going to be difficult for them to have to play against the Mets too. The Mets are going to be playing some good games this year. They still have a pretty good lineup. You know, it looks like Pete Alonso is finally woken up. He's had one hell of a spring. And Washington's loaded. The Phillies are a good offensive team. The Braves, of course, are real good. The one real problem, I think, with all the teams, though, in the National League East, to be quite honest with you, is I don't think any of them really have great bullpens at all, really.
No, the Braves don't have a closer, but they have some guys. The Mets bullpen stinks. The Nationals bullpen is okay. The Phillies bullpen is much improved, but I wouldn't say it's
average.
Good.
Man. It's probably like league. If you're taking 30 teams, it's probably about 15th.
But the one thing that I will say about
it's better than one of the worst of all time, like last year.
Yeah, like I'm pretty confident that the Phillies aren't going to be blowing 8-0 leads in the 7th inning of a doubleheader this year.
No.
I think the Phillies are better than the Nationals, and I think the Phillies are better than the Mets. I have serious questions about the Mets bullpen, and I have serious questions about the Mets defense. Jeff McNeil. He's not a great defender.
No.
Pete Alonso, Dominic Smith in left field, that could be a recipe for disaster. J.D. Davis every day at third base, that could be a disaster.
Pete Alonso is not a great defensive first baseman either, but
yeah, but first base you can get away with that, especially if he's going to hit 50. If he's going to hit 50 homers, then that's fine.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, to be honest with you, if you're comparing the Mets and the Phillies, I think it's really close. You know, I mean, obviously, the best player on the field is Bryce Harper. If you're looking at both teams, he's the best player in the field. As far as a team, power-wise, I think the Mets will probably hit more home runs than the Phillies, just because they have more deeper of a lineup as far as power goes. I think the Phillies will walk more than the Mets. I don't think the Mets players as a team walk enough. I think that's a problem. I think their on-base percentage is not that good, and that's going to come back to haunt them, as it usually does, especially when they're playing good teams with good pitching staffs.
Like I have RotoChamp up here, Brad. They have the Mets winning the East at 93 wins. There's no shot. There's no shot. No.
That's a lot. I don't see that happening. I mean, look, they've got pretty good starting pitching, but you know, if Edwin Diaz is their closer, there's no. He's so bad. I mean, maybe he'll come back and he'll have a good year, but I don't think he will.
Am I missing something? The Mets are the most overrated team in baseball, and I hate the Mets, so it's easy to say. But put my realistic hat on because I try and tell the people the truth here on the Sports Hounds. I don't see a 93-95 win team here with the Mets. I see a fourth place in the NL East team, maybe third place. Maybe they'll be better than Washington. I don't know. You have DeGrom at the top. He's a stud. Carlos Carrasco, he comes over in the Lindor trade. That's pretty good. Stroman, he's an okay 3. I mean, Taijuan Walker. I mean, really? David Peterson? Like, really? Joey Lucchesi, who the Padres just pretty much gave up on. Just dumped him on the Mets.
So, like, I don't like any of those guys.
Like, that's not a good starting rotation. That's not going to get you to the playoffs in what I think is the best division in baseball.
Here's the question: is Noah Syndergaard coming back, and will he be a factor?
I would imagine
that's a difference. If he's able to come back and give them, say, between 12 and 15 starts, that could be a big difference.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
He's a very good pitcher. He throws BBs out there. We'll see. I mean, I think he's in the same position as Luis Severino and the Yankees. They both had a Tommy John surgery in March last year, so they're probably going to be back beginning of July, to estimate. So that's probably what you're going to be looking at with them. I think that could be a major factor for them, the Mets. Are they going to be better than the Phillies and the Nationals and the Braves? I don't know. I mean, I think the Mets and Phillies are going to battle for third and fourth. I think the Phillies will come in third, but they're going to make the playoffs. That as the fifth seed, going to make it as the fourth. So
then you have the Dodgers or the Padres not making the playoffs. That's not going to happen.
Are there two or three playoff teams this year?
Well, there's 5.
There's 5. That's not, I mean, there's 2 wild cards or 3 wild cards.
Oh, there's 2, right?
Okay.
We're going back to the 5 team.
All right, we're going back to the 5. Okay. So then there's 2. So San Diego has to be 1. You're right. So it's going to be either the Nationals, Phillies, or the Mets. And I think the Nationals have the best pitching out of the 3, both bullpen and starting rotation. Offense, I have to give the Phillies the advantage with those 3 offensively. Defensively, I don't think any of them are. Oh no, the Phillies are probably the best defensive team out of that group. I like Didi, and I like your second baseman. So
Segura? Bohm's pretty good.
Segura can field. He's a very good fielder. He's always been.
Yeah, he's a knucklehead. He's better at second than short.
But he's a good fielder though. He's pretty slick out there. He knows what he's doing out there in the infield. Between him and Didi, they cover a lot of ground. I mean, Hoskins is okay at first base. He's not going to kill you.
Harper's good in the outfield.
Harper's very good in the outfield. Your center fielder defensively, Quinn, he's still a good fielder. I mean, he catches.
Oh yeah, and then my boy Hazley, he's got a groin injury. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. I was really looking forward to having him be the everyday center fielder, maybe hit leadoff for me.
Well, Cook is probably going to play most of the games in left, and if he's not too old and he can stay healthy, and if Joe Girardi makes sure that he doesn't play every day and gives him enough rest, I think you'll get a very good season out of him. You probably have the best offense out of the 3. The pitching, I think the Nationals have a big advantage with starting pitching. Bullpen is pretty much. I don't really think either of those 3 teams have great bullpens. The Mets bullpen is the worst out of the 3. The Phillies are probably second worst, and the Nationals are maybe league average as well. So you're looking at those 3. Atlanta, I think, wins the division. They just have a lot of talent, and they have Freddie Freeman still. They still have Acuna. They have Albies. That kid, what's his name? Pruitt, the guy in left field.
Oh, Austin Riley.
Riley, I'm sorry, yeah, Riley, the guy in left field who's
and then
he's gonna have a good year. I think he's ready to explode.
I agree with that. All you fantasy baseball players, maybe getting you ready for your drafts in the coming weeks.
He's a bit he's a bit underscored. A lot of people don't really follow him all that much because of some of the other guys that are notorious good hitters on the Atlanta Braves. But that kid is due to pop out in a big way.
Look at Atlanta, and Atlanta's absolutely loaded. Atlanta's starting rotation. Well, I mean, we can talk about their offense all day. Acuna, Freeman, Ozuna, Travis Denard, Ozzie Albies, who's a stud. Dansby Swanson can really hit it, and then you have Austin Riley. He's going to play third. It looks like. I think he's ready to pop.
He's going to play third now. Okay, I thought he was playing left.
And then they have a new guy, Christian Patchy, from their
farm system. Yeah, he's one of the top. He was a top 100 prospect. So. Okay. So
they're going to score a ton of runs. And then I'm more impressed with their starting pitching than I am their lineup. You have Max Fried, who I think is a stud. Charlie Morton comes over from Tampa. Part of the reason why I don't like Tampa, I'm out on Tampa this year. Because, you lose Morton and Snell. And, that's a lot of innings to make up for in a 162-game season. They're not going to be able to play those bullpen games like they did last year in the 60-game bubble.
No,
Ian Anderson, who I think is also another young kid ready to pop, another fantasy sleeper of mine if you're taking notes out there. And Drew Smiley comes in, and Kyle Wright comes in. And their bullpen is just not – I mean, they don't have a legitimate closer, but they have Will Smith. They have Chris Martin. They have A.J. Minter. They have Bryce Wilson. So, Luke Jackson, he looked like he could maybe be a piece at times last year.
That's not a great bullpen at all. But look, they have enough. They have enough hitting.
It's the best bullpen in the division.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. But again, they're never gonna have a lot of pressure in late innings because a lot of these games, because of their offense and their really good starting pitching, they're gonna have big leads late. And when a bullpen has big leads, they're not going to be walking guys because they'll be able to throw the ball over the plate because they don't have to worry about giving up a home run, and that does make a big difference.
And we go to Washington, and I like what Washington's doing offensively. They stole Josh Bell from the Pirates, which fills a huge void at first base for him.
Zimmerman's coming back. I saw. So he's in spring training, so I guess he'll be a guy that comes off the bench to play first.
Yeah, I mean he can't play every day anymore. But I mean you have Robles, Soto, Trey Turner, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber stinks. I mean.
But you know what? Maybe a change of scenery will do him some good.
Maybe, but he's got to be a DH. He can't play left field. I mean, he could be a butcher out there.
Well, that's something that they're going to have to deal with if they decide to put him in left.
Starlin Castro, he's 100 years old.
Doesn't he play right or center though?
Who?
Where does Soto play? Left or right?
I guess they're going to put – well, Robles is going to play center, who I like a lot. He's a good player. I guess Soto will be in right because, I mean, Schwarber can't do anything but play left.
Yeah, you can't put him in right because his arm is –
You just got to put him in left and be like – you got 2 steps to your left and 2 steps to your right, and everything else Robles is going to have to get.
Right, and late innings they're have a caddy for him.
They'll break –
They'll put Taylor out there probably.
Taylor's on my Royals.
He got traded, or he signed with the
Royals?
It was
a free agent or a trade.
Well, they'll have to have somebody go in there and caddy for him late innings.
Yeah, there's another great addition by my Royals out there in the American League.
Yeah, the Royals still need some pitching. Sorry, Greg Pryor, but they do need pitching.
They're gonna hit though. They're gonna hit. They're gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, they will. They will.
And then, you have Washington, they have Mad Max, they have Corbin, they have Strasburg. I mean, obviously that's a very, very potent top 3 starters, but John Lester, he didn't impress me at all, and Joe Ross stinks.
Right, but they're 4th and 5th pitchers, so I mean, they're in good shape with their starting rotation, and the team can hit. And they're not. I mean, last year everything that could go wrong for them did. It's in effect, basically everything that happened last year was counteractive to what happened the year before when they won the championship. I mean, they got out of the gate slow again, but then everybody got hurt, and Soto missed a lot of time, and it was a 60-game season, so they didn't have time to come back. So, I mean, this is going to be a normal season. Washington is going to be right there. They're a very, very solid team.
And then you got Hand, Rainey, and Hudson in the bullpen.
That's not bad. That might be the best bullpen in the.
Will Harris. Nah, I'll take Atlanta's because there's more guys in Atlanta.
Yeah, but Hand is a real relief pitcher, though. I mean, he's a solid reliever. He's going to get more saves than any of these other guys. You go into
underrating. I think you're underrating Will Smith, or I'm overrating Will Smith. One or the other. I think he can close.
We'll see.
We'll see. He's going to be the closer.
Yeah. Well, he was on the Giants last year, right? Is that the same guy that was on?
I think he played. Yeah, he was on the Giants. I think he came over as a free agent.
Yeah, no, but he's the guy that
last year was his first year on the Braves.
Okay. The Braves got him in a trade then.
Maybe. Then they re-signed him because he's from there.
Got it. He was pretty good actually with the Giants. So then
a couple World Series teams, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
And then you look at the Phillies. Brad. And I think they had the best lineup in the division. They have the best lineup in the division. I'll go out.
They don't have as good a lineup as the Braves. If you're talking about
right.
If you're talking about the other 4 teams, the other 3 teams, and them, yes, I think that they have the best hitting out of all of them.
But I look at Archie Bradley, Brandon Kinsler, Jose Alvarado comes in from Tampa Bay. Tony Watson's a lefty who I've seen have success in the major leagues. Chase Anderson.
He's terrible.
Who?
Chase Anderson. But I guess he'll be the long man, right?
Yeah, he might. I mean, they're having a competition right now for their 5th starter between Ivan Nova.
Well, if he pitches, Ivan Nova's going to win that. Is going to win that. Ivan Nova's a better pitcher.
Matt Moore's in the mix. Anderson.
Well, if they're number 5 pitchers, everybody else is a crappy number 5 pitcher too. So that's not going to really make all that big of a difference.
Yeah, Matt Moore, Vince Velasquez, Spencer Howard, Nova, Chase Anderson. They're all competing for rotation.
I would bet on Nova because when Nova is on, he throws a lot of ground balls. He doesn't walk anybody, so you're going to have to hit your way on base against Nova. So at least you're going to have to work your way to get a hit to get hits against Nova. Nova doesn't walk anybody, and that does make a difference in a competition.
He got bombed in his first. He pitched the first game of spring. He got absolutely bombed. Then he pitched the other day. He pitched well.
Yeah, I think he'll be. I think he'll be okay. I would bet on him out of all the guys you have, and Joe Girardi also knows him too, so that's an advantage for him.
Let's get some comments here. Brian Daly's in the house. What's up, Bri? Thanks for checking in. Thomas Arnone, he would love to say agree, but I can't. He's got to disagree. I was with you. I wanted to come on and yell and scream at Brad and say the Phillies were going to win the East, but I can't do it. Atlanta's too good. But I do think the Phillies are going to make a wild card. I think them and the Dodgers are going to be wild card teams.
They absolutely have a chance to do that. I mean, it all depends on the health of these teams. Health is going to decide. Every team has a little bit of a weakness somewhere on their team. The Phillies, not the greatest starting pitching. Questionable bullpen. They can hit the ball like hell. Really good defensively as well. Washington has the big 3 and then 0 with pitching, but they're very good and they're top heavy with their order. Atlanta seems to be the most well-rounded team out of everybody in the division. And then you've got the Mets, who have some good ball players on their team, and we'll see what happens with them. But it just seems like with the Mets, if the top three don't really just pitch lights out baseball, they're going to be in trouble because, their offense while they have a lot of power, their offense does tend to take nights off. So that's going to be a tough spot for them. We'll see what happens. Don't like the Mets bullpen at all.
Brian Daly disagrees to the poll. He thinks the Mets have the best chance to win the NL East. And I couldn't disagree more. I have the Mets fourth. And I have the Mets like a resounding fourth. I don't think they're that good. I said it at the time. I think they have problems. I think they're going to have problems catching the baseball. I think they're going to have problems in their bullpen. And past DeGrom, Carrasco, he's pretty good. But, I don't know. I'm not buying the Mets at all.
I'm not buying Stroman at all. I'm not buying Peterson. I'm not buying Taijuan Walker. What I would say is if the Mets hang in there till July and they get Syndergaard back and they're still in it, then you're going to be looking at DeGrom, Syndergaard, Carrasco, and Stroman. That would be a very, very tough combination to beat.
How many innings is he gonna log coming off Tommy John surgery? Like he's not going out there. He's not tossing 7 every time out.
Not at first, but I think even if he goes 5, if he starts with 5, it's still going to be better than Taijuan Walker or Peterson.
You're probably right about that.
And
I don't know. And plus the Mets, Brad, they always do this. They always make the big splash, whether it's Brody Ball or these new clowns that they got running the show. They always do this. They always make the big splash in the offseason, make a big trade, make a big free agent signing, and then they fall flat on their face in the season.
Well, I think last year part of the problem was Alonso just had a terrible year last year, and that just completely screwed the team up.
Every time, Edwin Diaz throwing batting practice out there.
I'll tell you what, he looks a lot better. He looks more like the Alonso of 2 years ago than he did last year so far in spring training. I work from home, so I'm able to turn the TV on a little bit in the afternoon when the games are on, and I've been watching a few of the games, and the Mets have been on a couple of times, and I'll tell you what, he's going to right field again, which is scary because that's what he did 2 years ago. He hit a lot of home runs to the opposite field, and if he's going to start doing that, if he's going to hit 50 home runs, you know what, the Mets are going to be a tough team to handle. They also have Conforto on the team. Don Smith hit. There's a lot of guys. They upgraded their catcher. McCann is a lot better than the fat boy Wilson Ramos that they had a couple of years.
Ramos was awful.
Yeah,
Ramos
was terrible.
He was a little bit of a stick. But, behind the plate, talk about a butcher. He makes Gary Sanchez look like a Gold Glover.
The Met fans couldn't stand him. Well, I don't know if anybody could make Gary Sanchez look. Maybe I could make Gary Sanchez
Wilson Ramos could. Tom Arnone Harper's got to be a top 5 MVP candidate. Let's go. The Phillies want to actually dethrone the Braves in this division. Yeah, Bryce Harper is going to have to hit 40, 50 home runs. He's going to have to be right there for the National League MVP, which he's fully capable of doing. And I love Bryce Harper. He's probably my favorite Philadelphia athlete these days. He can do it. And,
there's no question. There's no question about Bryce Harper. He's a fabulous player. He's one of the top 10 players in the game, and he's got the ability any year. He's got the ability to be an MVP. He's got that kind of talent.
I want to see him put the power. I want to see him put the average and the power together again. Because when he won the MVP, he hit 330 and he hit a bunch of home runs.
He also hit a bunch of home runs to left field when he hit 330. For some reason, since he's been in Philly, he seems to pull a lot more.
No, because he did that. He did that before he came to Philly too. He gets pull happy.
Yeah, I just went. What I remember him in Washington when I was watching National League Baseball was when he was on a hot streak. it seemed like a lot of his home runs were going to left field, that he was tracking the ball well and taking the outside pitch to left field and drilling a lot of home runs to left field. So a guy like that who can hit a home run in any part of the stadium shouldn't be trying to pull the ball all the time. That's the whole thing. He's so strong, and he's got such a big wingspan, and he can cover so much of the plate. He needs to start taking the ball to the opposite field. If he does that, they're not going to be able to shift him as much. And he has the ability to do that. And he's got power to all fields. He can hit a home run to any place in Philadelphia. Any place in that stadium, he can reach.
The whole league, any stadium in the league, Bryce Harper can hit it out of.
Yeah, I agree. I think he can
no doubt in my mind.
I think he can hit a home run to left center field in Yankee Stadium too. I mean, this is the kind of hitter we're talking about. He has the ability to hit a home run anywhere. That's why there's no reason for him to have to turn around and try to pull everything. He's not Didi Gregorius, who goes and tries to hook everything to right field, because Didi can't reach left field in most stadiums. He has to pull the ball. Bryce Harper has the ability to go anywhere he wants in any stadium at any time. If he gets a changeup, he can wait on the ball and drill it over the left field fence if he wants to. I mean, that's the kind of hitter he is. If he goes back to doing that and seeing the ball real well and tracking it, he can do that. He's got the ability. So does Rhys Hoskins. I mean, let's be honest. That guy when he hits one, he can hit one to any field as well.
I need Rhys to forget about walking. I don't care how much you walk. You play first base in the National League, and I got no DH this year. I need you to sit on fastballs, and I need you to mash and drive the baseball. No more of this nonsense where you're not. I don't even see you try and swing at the ball until you got 2 strikes on you. I can't have any of that nonsense from Rhys Hoskins this year. I need Rhys Hoskins to step up.
Yeah, he's too good a hitter to do that.
But I mean, Kapler ruined him, because Kapler was hitting him lead off, and it was just a disaster. And I didn't like it at all. I think you put him, even if you drop Hoskins to 5th or 6th, just be like, just clean up these fastballs, drive these fastballs, and produce some runs for me. I got other guys that'll walk.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, he should be batting 4th or between 4th and 6th.
Because I mean, I don't know. Because I want Harper 3rd. Because I want Harper to bat in the first inning, and I want to have 2 guys on for him.
Who bats 2nd, JT?
No, I would put JT 4th.
Does he enough?
I guess I would hit the kid 2nd. Boom. But I would have to.
I would. If you're gonna have Harper bat 3rd, I would put JT 2nd, because JT is a good hitter. He gets on base a lot.
No, because if you want to play games like that, because nobody walks more than Harper on the team.
Okay.
Except for maybe Hoskins, and I already said that I want Hoskins in the meat of the order.
He walks a lot because nobody wants to pitch to him, though. I mean, he almost has to walk a lot, because if he starts swinging at some of the pitches he sees, he's never going to hit. I mean, that's the problem. That's what happens with a lot of great players. When they start going outside the strike zone, that's when you start seeing these guys go into slumps, because the pitchers aren't throwing them strikes.
Trying to see. Holmes a righty. Right? I'm trying to remember. He'll walk a lot, and I think he can hit for a high average. So yeah, I guess I would let the kid hit 2nd, because I want Harper and JT 3rd and 4th, and then I want Hoskins, because Didi. Oh, here we go. Marky Mark. Bryce Harper is overrated for his contract. No, he's not. Bryce Harper's a bargain for that contract, an absolute bargain. Who would you rather have it at? I mean,
no,
I understand.
Bryce Harper gets paid what he should be getting paid. He's a top-notch player, and I think you got pretty good value out of him. I don't know. The years just to me are a little long, but you have to do what you have to do when you want to get a player of that ilk. You've got to pay him, and you've got to give him what he wants.
Well, like Marky Mark, like what does he have to do for him to be? What do you want him to hit? 100 home runs a year? If he doesn't hit 100 home runs a year, then he's a disappointment. He's a good fielder. He walks all the time. He's a team leader. He's got unbelievable power.
If he walks all the time, then what are you worried about his average then? If he's got a 400,
I'm not.
400 on base percentage, who the hell cares what his batting average is?
Average is fake news. I'm just saying, to win the MVP, you're going to have to hit a bunch of home runs and hit for a high average.
Yes,
I think Freddie Freeman.
True. That's true.
That's my only point with the average.
You at least 280 if you want to win an MVP, you got to hit 280. Unless you hit an absurd amount of home runs and have an absurd amount of RBIs.
Because I think Freeman was the MVP last year, right?
Yeah.
For the NL, I'm pretty sure, and he hit like 315 with like 35 home runs. Like that's what wins the MVP.
Well,
but
he didn't hit 35 home runs. Luke Voigt led Major League Baseball in home runs, I think, with 25 or something like that.
Well, I guess he didn't hit 35 because it was a shortened season.
Yeah, but he hit over 20. In 60
like
games. It's ridiculous.
If you're giving me 35 homers, 100 ribbies, by the way, Bryce Harper is going to get 10 to 20 steals this year. He runs the bases extremely well. Another thing that gets overlooked about Bryce Harper.
He also scores over 100 runs every year too, which is
he's going to score over 100 runs. So if you're going to tell me you got a guy who's going to score 100 runs, hit 35 home runs, drive in 100, steal 15 bags, walk over 100 times.
By the way, on singles.
By the way, while striking out less than 200 times, which is the threshold for me, if you strike out over 200 times, you got to chill out. You got to fix something. You can't be striking out that much. Bryce Harper doesn't strike out that much for as many home runs as he hits. So what do you want him to do for him to live up to the contract? So if I told you that you're going to have 100 runs scored, 35 bombs, 100 runs batted in, 15 steals, a 260 average, and nearly 400 on base percentage while walking over 100 times and striking out under 200 times, you're going to give me that for the next 7-8 years? That's not worth $25 million a year? I think you're out of your mind, and you gotta sit back and you gotta listen to ATD radio and listen to Sports Hound. You gotta learn the game. You gotta learn the game, Marky Mark.
I don't know what you're expecting from him. I mean, he's human. He's a real good player. You may get that MVP season again. He's still a young player. Yeah,
and then it astonishes me, Brad, that everyone in Philly wants to tell me Bryce Harper's overrated, but then you look, and then at the same time, everyone wants to tell me Aaron Nola's an ace. This is the time for Aaron Nola to step up and prove that he's an ace.
Nola's not an ace right now.
He's not an ace. I totally agree with you. He folds every September. He's been an ace 6 weeks.
Wheeler's better than him right now.
I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Aaron Nola is the most overrated athlete in Philadelphia right now until he proves me otherwise. He folds every September, and he's only been an ace in that 6-week stretch where he was right up there with DeGrom and Max Scherzer for a Cy Young. 6 weeks. Out of what? What's he been in? What's this, his 5th major league season? 6 weeks he's been an ace. That's not an ace. He's the key to the whole season. If the Phillies want to win the NL East and dethrone the Braves and make a wild card like I'm predicting, Aaron Nola's got to sack up. Time to go, Aaron Nola. Playtime's over.
He's got to put on the big boy pants and start dealing. By the way, Rob, some sad news I just found out. Real Cormier, ex-Philly,
yes,
in the early 2000s, passed away today. So,
wow, what happened to him?
I don't know, but I just wanted to pass that along. Rest in peace, and I that's very sad, and just wanted you Philly fans to know.
Marky Mark, I mean, he disagrees Mets and Phillies, but yeah, for me, it's Rhys Hoskins and Aaron Nola. That's those two guys. They got to put on their big boy pants, as you just said, Brad, and they got to be Noah's got to be a big time pitcher. Hoskins, I need you to drive the baseball. I need you to drive the baseball. I can't be looking for you. You can't be looking for a walk every at bat.
If you're a Met fan, Rob, Lindor, Alonso, Conforto all have to have big years. Big years. I'm not talking about 220, 30, 40 home runs and 70 RBIs. I'm talking about big years, 265 to 270, over 30 home runs each. Close to RBIs or more for each one. Those three guys have to do that. If the Mets if you Met fans out there really think that the Mets are a division winning type of team or a playoff team, those guys have to all have great years this year. Period. Okay?
I would think
He has to be a 300 hitter again. J.D. Davis has to be a huge factor, and Dominic Smith has to prove that last season wasn't a fluke and go out and hit the ball as well.
I do think Dominic Smith is good. I think he's a stick. He just doesn't have a position. I would say if the Mets want to win the division, Pete Alonso would have to have – he's got to have a Bryce Harper season.
Yeah, which he's capable of doing. He's shown that.
We've seen it once. I mean, we'll see. I mean, is he the rookie of the year, Pete Alonso, Brad, or is he the Pete Alonso that struggled? Now, I can give you a pass in the COVID bubble. I get it.
We'll see. We'll see. Listen, as I said, him, Lindor, Conforto, all three of those guys have to have big years and prove it. If they all have big years, then watch out. If one of them or two of them get injured or just have a prolonged slump or just aren't clutch and that sort of thing, the Mets have no chance because that bullpen of theirs is going to cost them a lot of games. So they're going to need to score a lot of runs and take big leads into the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings.
Philly Sports Passion 85. Check in on the tube. Thanks to everyone checking in on the tube. Be sure to hit that like button. Close the chat out. Hit the like button. Not hard. Give us some love. Or if you don't like what we're saying, hit the thumbs down button. Tell us we stink. Either way. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate your reactions. Duke is playing in the first round of the ACC tournament for the first time in like 25 years. Yeah, Duke stinks, and I couldn't be happier about it because Coach K has been he's been the biggest wuss about this pandemic ever.
You know why? Because he doesn't have a great team right now. That's why.
Right.
If he had a great team, he wouldn't be this way.
Yeah, because he's a weasel. Ugh, Coach K. Ralphie Delavecchio. Check out Ralphie Wednesdays here on A2D Radio. Phillies, we have a shot this year. They do have a shot. I think it's going to be a very enjoyable summer for Phillies Nation.
Phillies just hit that they need to hit the ball. That's it.
I mean, I'm not worried about. That's the only thing I'm not worried about.
But they really need to hit the ball. You can't expect their pitching to be great because they don't have great pitching. They have okay pitching. So hit the ball and you'll be fine. And you know what? They're definitely an above average hitting team. I think they're in the National League. They're probably they're probably in the top 5 as far as hitting the ball. So be in the top 5 as far as hitting the ball. You do that, you'll be fine. You'll end up coming in second and getting that wild card. Maybe you can beat the Braves.
Jake Friel, what's up, boys? I'm gonna have to disagree to the poll. Yeah, it's fine. Jake, do you have a selection, or you just don't think it's gonna be the Phillies? Are you a Mets guy? You a Braves guy? You a Nationals guy? I think we both agree that the Marlins, that was kind of fool's gold last year because of the situation.
Although I'll tell you what, Sixto Sanchez is going to be fun to watch this year.
Ugh. I can't. I shudder to think.
Yeah, but you're not going to get JT for nothing.
I know.
I mean,
I just don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. Every time this guy goes out and pitches good, which he might. He looks like a decent enough prospect.
But you're not going to get a guy. You're not going to get JT Realmuto for nothing.
I get that. And I make that trade all day long and twice on Sundays.
Sorry, listen, had you not re-signed him, then it would be a horrible trade. But you re-signed him. He's here, and he's going to be here for a while. So you're good. You're probably you have probably the best catcher in baseball right now.
But you understand my crux, because there's still some people that are going to see Sixto Sanchez. Oh, you trade Sixto Sanchez for JT Realmuto. We don't have any pitching. You know there's going to be those idiots.
Yeah, but here's the other thing. How do you know that Sixto Sanchez, if he pitched in Philadelphia with all the pressure, would be good?
You're preaching to the choir, brother.
You don't know that. You don't know that. Listen, there's a big difference pitching in Philadelphia than pitching into Miami, because you know what? People in Philadelphia actually watch the games and they actually go to the ballpark. And God forbid, if you're not playing well, they're going to let you hear it like there's no tomorrow. So there's no hiding in Philly. You can hide in Miami. Nobody cares about the Marlins. Nobody in Miami even cares about the Marlins. They don't show up at the ballpark. You know, they don't even show up for the Rays. Florida is a horrible Major League Baseball state.
You would think it'd be the opposite.
Yeah, but they don't show up they don't show up and watch their teams. They're too busy out there going to the beach and being on their boats and hanging out and having parties on their boats and stuff. They probably watch a lot of the games on television, but they don't go to the ballpark. I mean, fact is fact. Look at the attendance.
It's a great boat party.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Well,
it came in we get the Monday morning quarterback show with Tom Arnone, and Ryan Brodo comes on before us every Monday, and someone asked Tommy, what would you buy if you had $126 million guaranteed? And I don't know. I think I'm buying like a lakefront. I don't want to be. The beach is cool, but I think I'd rather be like a secluded lake and just like have a boat and just get fucked up on the boat and have boat parties.
If you have $125 million, okay, you can buy a house at the beach and you can buy a house at the lake.
But I need a boat. The point of the story being, I need a boat. I want to get fucked up with all my friends on a boat.
Yeah, well, you're probably better off with a boat on a lake than in the ocean, because when you're in the ocean,
that's could be rough and tumble. Yeah,
all kinds of bad things can. And if it gets rough, you'll be hanging at the edge of the boat, looking at your reflection in the water.
I'd be like the perfect storm. I'll just try and drive. Oh, wait, it looks like a little the perfect storm. George Clooney and Mark Wahlberg. I'm be driving up the wave, trying to get us out, get everybody killed.
Or you might see Skipper and Gilligan.
Oh my God, that would be awful. We'll keep the boat. Good. This is why we're good balance, Brad. Because I'm trying to take the boat in the ocean, getting all fucked up, and being Gilligan, and perfect storm in it. You keep it on the lake. You stay out of harm's way. It's calm.
Go to a big lake. Go to like Lake George, a lake like that.
Maybe we get it. Yeah, we'll get it like a designated survivor.
Or
you have to stay sober and make sure nothing bad happens.
Well, better yet, you can go up to Michigan and go live in the Upper Peninsula and take your choice of going onto Lake Superior or Lake Michigan. Those are nice big lakes, but
Great Lakes, yes.
You don't get 10, 20-foot waves, rogue waves coming at you like you do with the ocean.
But man, a boat party, that sounds fun.
Yeah, but that's what they do in Florida.
I know. It sounds fun.
But that's why they don't go to the games.
Vince Ferenzi's checking in. He's checking in on the book. Thanks to everyone checking in on Facebook tonight. Just can't blow a bunch of games against the Marlins this year. Yeah, man. I mean, the Marlins.
They've got it. Listen, the Phillies have done one thing wrong the last few years, is that
they never beat them.
Bad teams. That's something they've got to do a better job on. They always seem to give the Braves a good run for their money. They always seem to give Washington a good run for their money. They've had a lot of success against the Mets the last couple of years. But it just seems like when they play bad teams, especially on the road, they can't win, and that's got to change. That absolutely has to change. They have to make sure when they're hitting the ball, they hit the ball on the road.
Marlins made the playoffs last year. What do y'all think about them this year? That's from Prism 280. I'll pull up their lineup. I want to see what's going on here, because I don't think that they can. But still have Starling Marte. He's a pretty good player. Corey Dickerson's a professional hitter, but he's older. Jesus Aguilar is a guy that I like. And Miguel Rojas, I mean, you talk about why the Phillies never beat the Marlins. It's because of Miguel Rojas at shortstop. I mean, he rakes again. He's Babe Ruth against the Phillies.
Yeah, he's a pest.
And then Brian Anderson is a guy that I like over there at third, but I mean, he just hasn't taken the ball and run with it.
They're not a big time hitting team. They're
no, but I think they have some pieces there and there.
They have some pretty good pitchers.
Alcantara and Sixto Sanchez, I think that has the potential to be a good 1-2 punch. And then I'm going to look at their bullpen right now.
That magic that they had last year, in the second half of the season last year, and on into the playoffs and knocking the Cubbies out in the first round. I mean, that's asking.
They're hacks.
I don't see that happening again.
Cubs are hacks.
I know, but I don't see the Marlins getting into the playoffs this year. No way.
I don't like the Cubs.
No, I like the Cardinals in that division. But again, we're on the National League East tonight, and what like to hear what some of you fans think. Besides for the Braves, who do you guys fear the most of the National League East?
It seems that the Mets are getting a lot of love in the chat. Rob, Don 19 out of Detroit. Boy, the Tigers, man, they're tragic. I feel bad for Don. What player on the Phillies needs to step up? Aaron Nolan, Rhys Hoskins. I said it all show. Tom Arnone, I like Segura at second base. Yeah, Segura can't play short for you because, he takes plays off. He's not good.
Yeah, but when you have him and Didi
fielding, that is,
as your second base and shortstop, you're going to be very, very good defensively. I mean, Didi has tremendous range. I mean, you guys know I love Didi. It's just we had no room for him with the Yankees. Unfortunately, we just don't. If they would have traded Voit for pitching, then they probably would have re-signed Didi and moved Glaber to second base, but they didn't do that. So
Bryce Blackwell checks in. He's checking in on YouTube. Nationals will be solid. Mets will be interesting. He's not so sure about the Marlins. I don't get it. Like the splash moves that the Mets make. I mean, haven't they learned their lesson? When they were good. Lindor
and Carrasco were good players. I mean, I can't sit here and throw shade at those two guys. Those are two pretty good players, especially Lindor. I mean, Lindor is a quality shortstop. He's a switch hitter who can hit and he can run, and he's a terrific defensive player. And they really can't go wrong. They really didn't trade very much for him. What did they traded? They traded the young shortstop that they had. They couldn't field worth a lick. Who was that? Ahmad.
They traded Rosario. They traded a prospect named Andres Jimenez, and I don't know.
I mean, Ahmad Rosario could hit, but I mean, he couldn't field.
No, they won't miss him.
Shortstop, you have to be able to field as a shortstop. I mean, unless you hit like or Glaber Torres, you have to be a good fielder. I mean, it's required.
Brad, there's an American League question for you. I know we're on the NL East, but we can talk big picture baseball. Can the White Sox make some noise this season?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be they're in my opinion, they could be the third best team in the American League.
What are you going Yankees and then who?
Well, you know what? I've really, this week I've really thought about it. Okay, I think right now the White Sox are fourth. I'm still going to go Yankees first. Oakland is going to be real good.
I don't know. Simeon's a big loss over there for Oakland.
Yeah, I think they could replace him. Don't forget they're also going to have the stud pitcher back this year for the whole season, Sean Manaea. I mean, that's going to make a big difference for them.
Is he a stud? You sure?
I think so.
I think Luzardo's a stud. Jesus Luzardo.
Yeah, no.
Like dark horse American League Cy Young candidate.
Manaea had a pretty serious injury and he came off it, and I think he's gonna have a big year. I think. I think Oakland's going to be very, very tough. And I'll tell you what, I know you're kind of down on Houston and you're down on Tampa Bay, but don't throw those two teams out so fast.
I'm throwing out Tampa Bay.
Don't throw them out. You know what?
I think they're a 500 baseball team this year.
Well, what do you think is going to happen with Wander Franco? What kind of year do you think he's going to have? Top prospect in baseball.
Brad, okay, I understand that, and he's a good player. He looks like a stud, and that's all fine and good. You can't lose that many innings out of your starting rotation.
I agree with you, but it just seems to me that they always seem to find young pitchers. And
yeah, but you can't. I mean, you can't figure out like you're losing what 200 innings from Snell. You're losing what 170 innings from Charlie Morton, and you're just gonna piece that together with bullpen guys. Like, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, but they're gonna hit a lot more though, Rob. I mean, you're gonna have Franco. You're gonna have what's his name? How do you pronounce
Ruzioni?
that? Aruziano, or whatever the hell his name
is.
A Rosarina. Thank you. A Rosarina. I mean,
yeah, and you have Austin Meadows. You have Brandon Lowe.
That team can't hit. I mean, they're not your mother's Rays where they're all pitching. That team can hit the ball too.
I don't see it. I'm looking at their Roto Champ. Like, I don't see it. I don't get it. Tyler Glass now, Rich Hill, Chris Archer, Ryan Yarborough, Michael Wacha.
Yes.
Chirinos will, I would assume, pitch at some point. That's not a good starting rotation. It's not. And then they have bullpen guys. They have Fairbanks, who I like. They have Nick Anderson, who I like. Diego Castillo, but then Colin McHugh. I mean,
no, I don't.
He's not great. Ryan Thompson, Jalen Beeks, Trevor Richards. Yeah. I don't know. I see this as a 500 baseball team.
I mean, I hope you're right, but I wouldn't be too quick to throw them out. I'm just saying.
Throwing them out. I've crumbled them up. I've disposed of them in the waste paper basket in the corner.
Don't be too quick to throw out Houston either. I mean, I know losing Framber Valdez is a big injury for them.
Lost him. They lost Springer. I don't see it. Greinke's older.
I know, but you know what? Last year they found a way. They found a way when they got to the playoffs. They found a way. I'm just wondering if they can find a way to do it again this year. You know.
And to answer who asked it, Prism 280 with the White Sox question. Somebody, whoever asked it. Addison Book.
White Sox. I think the White Sox are the third best team in the American League. I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to come. I think the AL's coming down to the Yankees and the White Sox.
Yeah, and Oakland.
I guess we'll see if they can replace their shortstop and if these pitchers are gonna step up.
Oakland.
I look at the White Sox lineup.
Oh, the White Sox have a tremendous lineup. They got pretty good pitching. Although they are counting on some older pitchers, they still have pretty good pitching.
Well, I think Lance Lynn coming over. Look, Giolito is a stud. He's a Cy Young candidate.
Absolutely, but Lynn is no youngster anymore. And neither is Keuchel. I mean, we'll see. They're good, but let's see. I mean, do you think Lynn can have another year like he did last year?
He had a good season last year.
I know he did. He had a great year last year. He had a great year the year before that too. But do you think he's going to do it again? I mean, Lance Lynn is getting old. I mean, he's no kid anymore. He's got to be in his mid.
Yeah, but he's the third guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with their lineup.
Is the real thing.
And I think they got these young guys that are going to step up. Oh, and bringing in Hendricks at the back end.
You got Covey coming up from the minor leagues. Kopech is coming up from the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm.
These two guys are both. These are the White Sox I'm talking about.
Yeah,
these are two guys that are real good ball players that are good pitchers, and have shown a lot at the minor league level. They've both had a cup of coffee in the American League for the White Sox and haven't really produced at a high level yet. But they both are top-notch prospects. So, I mean, it could happen. And, you know, our friend that always the both of us are always trying to get in fantasy baseball. Who's that other pitcher that you and I are always get, and then we
Carlos Rodon.
Well, Rodon is good, but Rodon is not on the team anymore. I think he signed with somebody else, didn't he?
No, he's there.
Oh, he's there? Okay. Well, they still have him. And, no, the right-handed guy. What's his name? Spanish kid. I can't
Rolando Lopez?
Rolando Lopez. Thank you. Yeah.
It looks like he's going to settle into a bullpen role.
Yeah, I mean, he always
not really sure what's going on there.
He always has like 2 or 3 weeks where he's the best pitcher in baseball, and then for the rest of the year he stinks. But listen, the White Sox are going to be very, very tough to beat this year.
2 young guys to wrap up the White Sox talk. Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. I think they're both studs.
Players, yeah. Oh, Eloy Jimenez is tremendous.
Power for days.
Yeah,
power for days.
That guy.
Don 19. The Royals says the Royals suck. I don't think they suck. Don. I think it's going to come down.
Well, the only team in that division that absolutely sucks, to be quite honest with you, is the Detroit Tigers.
Sorry, Don.
Yeah, they're awful. Kansas City can hit. They brought in some veterans who can hit the ball now, so they're not going to be as bad as people think. So don't be so quick to trash them.
Braves and Mets lineups are better 1 through 8. I'm assuming that's compared to the Phillies. The Braves, I'll give you.
The Mets?
I don't know if the Mets is better than the Phillies lineup wise.
Well, if you go around, left field is probably. I think I probably would rather have Dominic Smith than Kutch at this stages of their careers. Nemo and Roman Quinn probably is close. I guess I give that to
Nemo's better.
Yeah, Nemo's better.
That's their
right field. The Phillies. I'd rather have Harper than Conforto, without question. First base right now, I'm going to give both of them, but that's right now is a draw because I think both.
We have to see about Alonso. We have to see. We got to see about Alonso.
We got to see about him. We got to see about Hoskins. I'd say that's a draw because I think both of them need to step up, and we'll see what they have inside. They both have big time potential, so we'll see. I'll pick whoever has a better year as the better player this year in that particular area. On paper, they're about the same. Second base, McNeil was placed second for the Mets. Probably a little bit better offensive player than. I guess I'd rather have him than. I guess McNeil is better, and I guess Lindor is a little bit better than Didi at third base.
I'll take Bohm over J.D. Davis. I know I'm projecting a little bit, but J.D. Davis, he's a butcher in the field. Bohm is a little bit of a glove, and I think Bohm's a real player. I really liked what I saw from him last year. Yeah, really excited to see what he becomes.
I think you could make the argument for the Phillies with that one, and catching the Phillies obviously, but it's about 4-4, so I think they're pretty even.
And then the Phillies have a little bit.
It's probably 3-3, and or maybe 4-3, 4-3-1 for the Phillies. It's something like that. It's close. It's close. I think the Phillies' offense is a little bit better than the Mets, but again. That's going to depend on Pete Alonso. If you get Rookie of the Year Pete Alonso, then the Mets are going to have a better lineup. If you get everyday Rhys Hoskins, who hit a home run every day a couple of years ago,
right?
Then the Phillies are going to have a little bit better. But we'll see which one steps up. If they both step up, you're going to have 2 outstanding offensive teams.
Bob Brinkman, it's the guy that makes $18 million and hits $210 that hurts you. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Bryce Harper, I mean, he does his job. I don't see how you can be a Bryce Harper hater. I don't get it. Ryan Shackelford, he completely agrees with my assessment of Aaron Nola because he looks amazing at the beginning and then falls apart at the end. 3-card Monty. This is an interesting name, and I'm surprised he hasn't come up in the conversation yet thus far, but Odubel Herrera is in spring. He's not looking half bad. It looks like he's going to make this ball club, and with the Hazley injury in center field, he's probably going to play. At least some. Well, I don't know if Scott Kingery's an everyday center fielder.
Listen, you know what? If the Yankees can play Domingo Germán, then the Phillies can play Odubel Herrera. But you know what, you guys? But between both of you guys, that goes for Herman and Herrera. You guys better behave yourselves because everybody's going to be watching, and it doesn't matter how well you play. If you guys screw up off the field, you're done, both of you. So, just
Pete Evans. Raphael H on YouTube, he likes Bryce Harper to win MVP. It's never a bad bet. You don't have to twist my arm to convince me that Bryce Harper is awesome and an MVP candidate, because he is. Each and every year he laces up the spikes. Pete Evans, check out Pete on Birds of a Feather every Thursday night here on A2D Radio. He disagrees with the poll, which is fine. He likes Bryce Harper to lead the NL in homers.
I don't know.
Addison Book, he says Paul Goldschmidt is better than Bryce Harper, which I disagree with.
Paul Goldschmidt? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. First of all,
you think Goldschmidt's better than Harper, or you think Harper's better than?
No, I don't think Goldschmidt's better than Harper.
Okay.
I would disagree. I think Acuna is better than Harper, but he's the one I would pick to be an MVP this year. But I don't think Goldschmidt is. Being behind Acuna doesn't exactly make you a slouch either. And
Goldschmidt's the Cardinals.
Right.
Cromer, he's on Birds of a Feather too. It's just wrestling shows here at ATD. He disagrees that Paul Phillies are vastly short on pitching to keep up with the Mets or Atlanta. So he's sipping the Mets Kool-Aid. I don't get it. I don't see it with the Mets. I really don't.
Mets bullpen is bad. And they're gonna lose games. They're gonna lose so many games in that bullpen, and Met fans are gonna be sitting there scratching their heads, and all you Met fans are gonna be sitting there crying about, why didn't we sign Brad Hand? Well, you should have signed Brad Hand. Of all the guys you guys got, that was the one guy, and he only cost you $10 million. He cost the
1 year, yeah,
$1 million. Okay, that was the guy the Mets need to go get, and they didn't get him. That I don't understand that for the life of me. Why you spent all that money on all those players, and that's the one guy you didn't get? I mean, you need a closer. You have to have a closer on that team.
And then I don't know. I guess Bauer didn't want to go there.
Bauer was ready to go there, and then the Dodgers.
Dodgers hopped in.
The Dodgers decided that they would blow him out of the water. So they just had to have him. So, I mean, I like Bauer, but I don't know about. I mean, I don't think Bauer. You might get 2 or 3 good years out of Bauer. How many years did they pay him for?
3.
3? Then that was a good move. Then.
3 at $35 million a year. He's not a $35 million a year player, but they got away with it because it's only 3 years.
Right,
Marky Mark.
Yeah, the thing with Bauer is that he's good, but he's not what I wouldn't consider him one of the top 5 pitchers in baseball.
No, I think he pitched well in motivation to get himself paid.
Yeah, and
over the last year and a half.
And last year, don't forget, it was a 60-game season. He didn't do it over 162. He did it over 60. And now the National League has also seen him pitch. He's been around the league now a couple of times. So we'll see. I'm not convinced that listen, would I have loved to have had him on the Yankees? Of course, I'm not going to lie. But not for $35 million. That's too much money for him.
Marky Mark, what kind of impact could Adobe Herrera have on the Phillies? We've seen him have 6-week stretches where he looks like a National League All-Star. We've also seen him have 6-week stretches where he looks like a minor league player. And obviously he has off-the-field issues as well. So like you said, Brad, he better behave himself. But the Hazley injury opens the door for Herrera to step right in at center field. I think Kingery will play out there sometimes, and then Herrera's going to have to play there sometimes. Roman Quinn, he's not an everyday player. Roman Quinn should be a 4th outfielder, pinch runner. Maybe you put in, if you got to pull McCutchen for whatever reason, for defense, you put Quinn out there, cover ground. But I like Roman Quinn off the bench as opposed to starting in center field. So yeah, that's the NL East preview. But I want to move on to I want to talk about hated athletes. And I don't know if everyone saw it. I'm sure it's on our A2D social media. But Tom Wilson of the Washington Capitals, just you got to imagine he's going to get suspended for a while for that hit on.
He got suspended for 7 games for that cheap shot to the head of Brandon Carlo. Also, it took one heck of a beating from Jared Tenorti as the Bruins' response to that hit. So, I mean, Carlo did play yesterday, so he's okay. But I mean, when a guy has to go to the hospital after getting a hit in the head, that's bad. And this isn't Wilson's first time. I mean, he's
a repeat offender.
Yeah, he's not just a repeat. He's a repeat offender. I think this is his fourth offense. I mean, it's kind of getting a little old with Wilson. He needs to knock it off already. Because he's gonna one of these days he's really, really gonna hurt somebody. I mean, the Dale Hunter bullshit has to stop with Tom Wilson. And for you Washington Capital fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about with Dale Hunter, with that hit on Pierre Turgeon. It's got to stop. Because, Wilson is too big and too strong. He can really hurt somebody, and it's enough. It really is. This isn't, hockey, you have a difference. You want to drop the gloves and fight? Fine. But you know what? There is no room in the game for headhunting, and there's no room in the game for hitting from behind and also going into the head. That crap went out back in the 70s and 80s.
But I thought it'd be fun because Tom Wilson, man, he's on your team. I feel like you like him.
Oh yeah, of course you do. You're going to stick up for him. You're going to stick up for him, and you should if he's on your team. But he's a guy. He's one of the most hated players in the NHL right now.
So I thought it'd be fun to talk about some guys that we hate here in Philly, some guys we hate. You talk about some guys we hate here in New York, and first guy that comes to mind for me is Jason Seahorn. Jason Seahorn, the USC, Cali boy, pretty boy, New York Giant. I hated Jason Seahorn. I hated him, Brad. And because remember, and I think it was
great. He was okay. He was a decent player. I mean,
I hate him, but he's got one of the most haunting highlights in the whole Eagles-Giants rivalry in that playoff game where it bounced off his head and it bounced off his shoe and he's catching it, he's running the other way and he's all fucked up. Oh my gosh. I just hear the name Jason Seahorn and I just cringe. I cringe. He just looks like such a weasel, such a nerd. Just the Southern Cal in New York, them playing in New York combo.
That usually doesn't work, Just to be fair, it hasn't exactly worked in New York very often. I mean, it hasn't worked real well for Sam Darnold. It didn't work real well for Mark Sanchez. Just to name a couple, for example. Steve Smith it worked okay for, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Jason Seahorn. I mean, just Tiki Barber is another one. I Facebook memory, I guess 10 years ago today, I was Facebooking about Tiki Barber being a clown. And it was true 10 years ago. It's true today. I can't stand Tiki Barber. He's always got something to say.
I don't disagree with you about his mouth, but I mean, he was still he's probably the greatest Giant running back in the history of the team. I mean, he should be a Hall of Famer based on what he did. I mean, there's only 3 guys in NFL history who have 10,000 yards rushing and 5,000 yards receiving. Marcus Allen, Marshall Faulk, and Tiki Barber. And that would tell you what a great offensive player he was.
No offense, Alex Rodriguez was hated everywhere after his suspension. Yeah, A-Rod did himself no favors. That's a really good one, Addison, in terms of hated athletes. Because Alex never really endeared himself to New York.
No.
Because he was always in Jeter's shadow.
No, he's not. He was not well liked in New York at all. I can tell you that.
And he came up short in the playoffs a lot.
Oh, all the time. The only year he had that was great in the playoffs was 2009. He was dominant that year
against the Phillies. I guess he took some extra juice that year,
especially against the Angels. I mean, he had an unbelievable series against the Angels in the playoff series, in the LCS series, and against Minnesota that year. He was outstanding in those two. Wasn't quite as good in the World Series, but he did get some big hits that year. I can tell you a couple from our side, okay, and they're all Red Sox, of course. Pedro Martinez, who personally I would pay to punch his lights out. I would pay somebody to let me.
Why? Because he threw Don Zimmer on the ground when Don Zimmer was trying to attack him?
No. Because there was one game, and it was an afternoon game, and I happened to be at this game where he hit Alfonso Soriano, and then he hit Derek Jeter back to back, and they both had to come out of the game. And the fans were so angry after Jeter came out. This was in the first inning. People they had an announcement because the fans were going nuts that everybody, we have to show our Yankee sportsmanship and stop throwing shit out of the field and all this other crap. Because that's how angry the Yankee fans were at Pedro. And guess what? The Yankees beat the hell out of him anyway because Mike Bucina shut him down that game. But I mean, Pedro Martinez, who was garbage, he was a garbage human being for the way he used to act with hitting guys, and then because he's in a DH league, he never had to get up and face the music.
Right.
David Ortiz with his big mouth, acting like he's Mr. Innocent when he's a steroid popping piece of shit, just like all the other Red Sox players were. And of course, that big jerk off catcher behind the plate, Jason Varitek, who used to make like he was holier than thou. But meanwhile, I never once saw him throw out one New York Yankee base stealer. Not once. Probably the shittiest defensive catcher in the history of the Yankee-Red Sox rivalry. Posada was so much better than him, it was almost ridiculous. But if you listen to Red Sox fans, he was the captain. He was the captain of what? Throwing guys out at second base? Because he never threw anybody out at second base. Never hit more than 280 in a season.
But I feel like Red Sox fans just kind of called him the captain because the Jeter captain.
Yeah,
stigma.
probably.
They're just trying to copy it. Like, oh, you got your captain, we got our captain. But yeah, I mean, Tech was all right. I mean,
he's a piece of shit. Boston Red Sox.
Marky Mark checks in. Danny H. Celtics hated him. Little before my time.
Yep.
And he hated
A-Rod. ML Carr for some of you basketball fans who've been watching a long time. The dirtiest player probably in the history of basketball.
Philly fans hated Von Hayes. Traded 5 players for 1.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, he just like
the only one that was good was Julio Franco. The rest of them all stunk.
Andrew, talk about the idiots like that. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Andrew Newman, what idiots you talking about? I don't know what idiots he's talking about. A player that I hated on the Mets was Jose Reyes.
Oh yeah, everybody hated him.
I couldn't stand Jose Reyes. I couldn't stand the Mets fans, and it made me so happy when they would tax that ass every September in 07 and 08. They just folded like a tent.
Well, here's why I can't stand Reyes, because he won a batting championship. He was tied for the league lead. He goes and he drops a bunt single in the last game of the season, and then comes out of the game after the bunt single.
I would do the same thing, probably, though. I can't hate on that. I just didn't like,
Be a damn man. Win it right. Come on. That's like Wade Boggs. That's like Wade Boggs material. Wade Boggs had like a 5-point lead against Don Mattingly in 1986 for the batting title, and he sat down the last 2 games of the season because he was afraid Mattingly would beat him.
It's a Red Sox comment.
Yeah.
From Andrew Newman. I guess he doesn't like the Red Sox either. Maybe you get along with Andrew.
Not too many people. Not too many people do. The best people don't. That there are so many.
You look at
I mean,
look at Cowboys. The Cowboys. I mean, Tony Romo was a hate the face guy, just the pretty boy Cowboys quarterback.
Emmitt Smith. No, the one I hated the most out of all the Cowboys, quite honestly, was Roger Staubach, because
I can't really hate on Emmitt Smith.
Oh, I hate
He had the goods.
Yeah, but taking his helmet off every time he scored a touchdown, just like, you know what? Screw you. Keep your damn helmet on. We don't need to see your ugly face every time you get a touchdown. We know you're good. Okay, you didn't see Walter Payton doing that. You didn't see Jim Brown doing that. Didn't see Barry Sanders doing that.
There's a good one for you, Brad, for basketball. Reggie Miller.
Oh God, I couldn't stand him.
I liked Reggie. I liked Leitner too, but I understand why people didn't like him.
I never had an issue with Leitner. I mean, I always liked Leitner, so I don't really get the whole thing with him at all.
But the Reggie Miller Spike Lee rivalry.
That was pretty
awesome.
funny, actually. But
it was awesome.
Reggie was just a great shooter. I mean, he
was clutch.
We didn't like him because he was good. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, he never really did anything outrageous to piss us off. He wasn't a cheap shot artist. He didn't play basketball the wrong way. He just never missed in a big spot. And,
right.
You hated him because of that. You're supposed to hate guys like that. That's a healthy hate. The same thing with Roger Staubach. He never did anything bad. He just, he just would find all different ways to destroy the Giants. When the Giants thought that they would have a quarterback sack, the son of a bitch would run around everybody and he'd pick up 30 yards. And if he wasn't doing that, he'd throw a bomb to Drew Pearson or whomever was the flavor of the day that particular day. I mean, that was the Cowboys stuff. There were so many Cowboys I couldn't stand. Hollywood Henderson, screw him. Bob Lilly, screw him.
Marky Marks, he comments Sidney Crosby. I can't hate Sidney Crosby. He's too good to hate.
No, I can't stand him either. But I'll tell you the one hockey.
He is a little bitch. He is a little bitch sometimes, but he's so good.
The biggest bitch though of all is Brad Marchand right now. He's just he's ridiculous, and he's another one that he starts crap up, and then he runs off the ice and lets his big boys protect him all the time. I mean, he's got the Bobby Clark syndrome where he gets everybody pissed off and then runs off the ice, and everybody else has to clean up his mess. He's kind of like how would I put this? I compare Brad Marchand to the Bugs Bunny episode where Bugs Bunny was irritating the lion in the cage and he took a credit card and he's jingling the cage with the credit card to make noise to upset him. And then the lion finally was able to open the door, and then he jingled his teeth, and all of a sudden he was like, uh-oh, and then he runs away. But that's Brad Marchand to a T, because he'll do that and then he'll never fight. Somebody else has to end up cleaning up his mess and protecting him. And then just to aggravate you on top of it, the guy scores 30 to 40 goals every year too. So
he's a very good player.
That's what makes it worse.
Everything that comes to mind when it comes to Brad Marchand is when he whiffed in Philadelphia on the shootout penalty shot.
Yeah, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Yeah,
That's what always comes to my mind when Brad Marchand comes up.
Yeah, what comes to my mind is he got into an argument with one of the players, and when the guy turned around, he licked him in the cheek. And it's just just as I said, he's the lion. He's the one that rattles the cage with the credit card, So that would be mine right now in the NHL as far as most irritating players in the league. He is the irritant of irritators.
Dak Prescott, Brad. Speaking of hated teams, hated rivals, Dak Prescott. He's going to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. 4 years, $160 million, an astronomical 126 of that guaranteed. Right, that has to make the Cowboys the favorites in the East, at least on March 8th.
Yeah, I would agree with you. On March 8th, they're definitely the favorites.
Because
Listen, Dak has been a really good quarterback the last couple of years. I mean, I know I've made some comments about him, and I still think that as far as him throwing the ball outside the lines, outside the hash marks, he's not a great thrower to the sidelines. But as far as just throwing the ball straight down the field between the hash marks, he's deadly and he's quick. Yeah, and listen, he can move the team and he's got a good arm. What can you say? I mean, had they had him all season and not had to have the likes of who was that horrible quarterback that played against you guys?
Grant Dalton, Garrett Gilbert. No,
that
the Italian name guy, Danucci.
Yeah.
Danucci.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
Yeah, guys like them playing. I mean, that's just awful. Dak is going to make them tough. They're going to be a real tough offensive team. I know they were. What were they? 1-3 when he got hurt, something like that. But you got to think that a lot of those games that they lost, they couldn't score because they just didn't have good quarterback play. They lost twice to the Redskins. They got smoked twice by the Redskins.
Yeah, once on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that would have happened if Dak was in there. So we'll see. Dallas still needs to improve that defense. That defense is still really, really bad right now.
Well, you got to think that they're going to use their draft capital on defensive guys. I guess maybe offensive line.
Well, yeah, offensive line and defensive line. I think those are the two areas. I mean, listen, when you have a bad defense, the best way to improve your defense is to get a pass rush. Because if at least you can get a pass rush, then your secondary gets a little less exposure. So that to me is the quickest way to improve your defense. And there are going to be some guys available. So
yeah, but I mean, how much cap space can they have?
Not much. Not after this deal. And really, a lot in the NFC East. I don't think anybody really has a lot of cap space, to be honest with you.
Well, the Eagles, they're.
Well, Howie is doing the one thing that he does well. He's being a capologist and trying to work things out so that you guys get some cap space. He's been doing a pretty good job of doing that.
Yeah, they're still $25 million over. He renegotiated Jason Kelce, excuse me. Darius Slay got renegotiated. And I feel like someone else got renegotiated as well.
Find a way they need to find a way to renegotiate Cox. That's going to be the big one.
I mean, they're still $25 million over.
They're going to have to make some. They're going to have to make some moves. They're probably going to have to get rid of Zach Ertz, which probably isn't.
He's probably going to get traded in the coming days, and then. I guess if you're not going to draft defense, it seems to be Kyle Pitts is kind of the flavor of the month in terms of prospect-wise at 6. He had a tight end from Florida, which, I mean, okay. I can deal with that as long as they don't pick a quarterback.
What's wrong with Goddard, though?
Is Goddard that good? I'm not sure.
But he's not bad. I
know, but they're saying this Pitts guy can line up outside, he can line up in the slot, he can line up as a tight end, and he's dynamic and athletic.
If I were them, I'd be looking at an offensive lineman, to be honest with you, or a defensive lineman. That to me, I think they need that more than anything else. I always think that when in doubt, go to your offensive line, your defensive line.
I mean, their defensive line should be okay, and that's another way I think that they're gonna chisel away at this being over $25 million for the cap. I think they're gonna extend Derek Barnett. So it's not a $10 million cap hit for the next season.
What about Malik Jackson?
I can't imagine, but I think they renegotiated him. I can't even imagine he's going to be on the team.
Yeah, I think you'd have to get rid of him. I mean, they're going to have to get rid of a few guys, that are at this stage of their career. They're going to have to make a decision that there are certain guys on the team who, at this stage of their careers, are getting substantially overpaid and bite the bullet.
But I mean, you have the Falcons are 15 over, the Chiefs are 18 over, the Eagles are 25 over, the Rams are 29 over, and the Saints are 43 over still. So there's going to be some trades, and there's going to be some veterans that get released, I think.
The teams to watch this year are going to be Jacksonville and the Jets, because those two teams have a ton of money to spend. The Jets are $70 million under the cap, and I believe Jacksonville is $85 million under the cap.
85. The Patriots are $72 million.
Yeah.
The Colts are $50 million.
Yeah, so those are teams.
I'm not sure if that takes into account the Wentz move, so that might be significantly less.
They're over
and
the
cap. Whole
They're over the cap, right? These guys that you're talking about. Because I'm sorry, the Jets and Jacksonville are under the cap.
The Jaguars are 85. They have $85 million in cap space. The Patriots have $72 million in cap space.
Okay.
The Jets have $72 million in cap space. The Colts right here, it's showing on sportstrack.com that they have $50 million in cap space, but that can't be right because I guess Carson Wentz isn't officially on their team yet.
Right. But the Eagles are carrying most of that cap hit this year.
This year, yeah.
So they'll probably get, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the cap works with that, but those are teams that are definitely going to be able to improve themselves. I'd be pretty concerned about the Colts right now if I'm in that division.
Colts are going to win the Super Bowl.
They might because they're
already bet on it. It's done.
Carson's
going to win the Super Bowl, and he's going to stick it right up Philadelphia's ass.
Well, they're certainly going to be able to
happen.
They're going to be able to bring in a lot of good players this year. There's no question about that.
I would imagine they'll re-sign T.Y. Hilton.
You would think.
Pittman looks like a pretty good player. The kid out of USC was a rookie last year. He looked pretty good. Their offensive line is great. Their defense is pretty good. They almost went into Buffalo and won that football game. And Carson Wentz, for my money, is better than Phillip Rivers. Jonathan Taylor's a beast.
You put Carson Wentz on the Colts. Yeah, I think you might be right because the Colts are real good. They've got a lot of good players on their team, especially at the skill positions. I think that he's going to do real well in Indianapolis. No question about that.
And then it seems like Zach Ertz is going to get traded. I mean, talk about a perfect fit. I mean, if the Colts were able to end on him, put him at tight end, team him up with Carson, give Carson just another weapon with that offensive line.
Yeah, and have somebody that he's familiar with. That would seem to be a match made in heaven.
Seems like the Bills are a popular rumor mill destination for Zach Ertz as well, but that works as well. Give Josh Allen a pretty good tight end like Zach Ertz.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, the Bills are going to go out and they're going to get another receiver. I think that's something that they're definitely going to do. I mean, they've already they traded their first round pick last year for Stephon Diggs, so they have their first round pick this year.
Correct.
But they're gonna want to have a guy that they can put on the other side of Stephon Diggs and make that a better, more well-rounded offense, and probably a big porky running back.
They need a running back. They definitely need a running back up there in Buffalo.
Yeah, they need one. It can't be always Josh Allen running the ball. Somebody else has to run the ball besides him.
And Zach Ertz says he prefers to be released. Like, no shit, because then he can go wherever he wants.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can't always get what you want. So,
I don't think they're going to get much the Eagles are going to get much for Zach Ertz.
Maybe a fourth or a fifth. It depends. It depends on the money. What the situation is with the money. If the Eagles, I don't know what the rules are with football. If they're able to retain money, like they can in some other sports, they could probably get a pretty good get a pretty good deal for him. But if the other team that gets him has to absorb the whole contract, then that's going to be that's going to be tough. I don't know what the football rules are. I mean, are they
$12.5 million? Are
they like
it'd be
is it like basketball where you have to take the whole salary, or is it like hockey where a team's allowed to retain 50% of the other teams of the salary?
Good question. Don't know. That's a question I would ask you. But Zach Ertz would carry a dead cap hit of $7.8 million.
And how much is he making?
Base salary of $8.25 million, carrying a cap hit of $12.5 million, a dead cap hit of $7.8 million.
All right, so so whoever gets him is going to have to pay $5 million for him.
Correct.
That's definitely worth it. I mean, you could for $5 million. I would think you should probably be able to get a third or a fourth pick for him. I mean, if you get a third for him, you'd be doing well. And third round picks are very good in the NFL.
Yeah, unless Howie's picking them.
Well,
and then another thing that got under my skin with the Eagles today is Jeffrey Lurie wants to meddle in the affairs of the team again, and he wants the team to build around Jalen Hurts, which, like, no shit, like that's what you should do after you just traded a franchise quarterback that I've seen have success in this league. Like, you better not draft a quarterback at six, or I'll lose my mind.
I don't think they're going to do that. I mean, I joke around with you guys on Facebook all the time about that, but I don't really think that that's going to happen. I can't imagine they would do that. I mean, I think that they've got to because of their cap situation, I think reality says that they're probably not going to win the division. It's going to be very tough for them to have a competitive team. So you know what? You might as well let him play this year and see what he can do, and try to get some weapons for him, and let's see what happens. You know, that's kind of the attitude they should take. And if he's not an NFL quarterback, which both you and I don't think he is, then you go out, you get a quarterback at the end of next season. But I think you kind of got to let him play. You've put yourself in a position by trading Carson that's what you got to do, and you can't be wasting another first round pick on a quarterback. You can't do that. You can't do that and expect to be competitive this year unless you're willing to completely throw the season away. You can't.
I mean, if Hurts is good, like, the division's not great. So if Hurts is good, like,
listen, look, Hurts is more of a Lamar Jackson type quarterback than a Deshaun Watson type quarterback. And I mean, you know, is he as quick as Lamar? I don't think he is, but you never know. I mean, that's the thing. You know, the guy's a freak athlete. I mean, you can't argue that. I mean, he's fast as all hell. He's a lot stronger than he looks. You know, he doesn't look very big on TV, but you know, he's supposedly, his legs are tree trunks, and he's supposed to be one strong son of a gun. So you let him play. I mean, you know, you've already kind of made the move. So if you draft a quarterback, and unless you think that there's a Peyton Manning out there that's going to be that's a franchise quarterback.
There is a Peyton. He's just going to go first to the Jaguars.
Yeah, you're not going to get Lawrence. You're not going to get Lawrence, and the other quarterback, Wilson, is that his name?
Zach Wilson, you had at BYU, and you got Fields out of Ohio State.
First of all, I'm prejudiced against Ohio State quarterbacks, so I would leave him out.
Yeah, from the Arch Schleicher days.
Yeah, it just seems like, you know, as good as some of the quarterbacks on Ohio State have been over the years, they just never seem to be good in the NFL. But that guy Wilson, I think the Jets are going to draft him, and I think they're going to trade Darnold. They could probably get a second or a third pick for Darnold. So I think that's going to be the situation with him. Although I kind of like Darnold. I don't think it was his fault. I think Adam Gase was a horrible coach and didn't do him any favors. And the Jets have failed him miserably as far as putting a team out in the field for him. But I think that's what's going to happen with the Jets.
I would stick with Darnold.
I would too, but I have a feeling that the Jets are I have a feeling that the Jets are going to want to get a quarterback. You know, they have a new coach. New coaches usually want to have the choice of who the quarterback is. If this guy Saleh wants Darnold, he'll have him.
But what the Jets should do is, you know,
Well,
hope someone falls in love with Fields or Wilson or one of these other prospects and then trade.
They should trade down and get more assets and build the way the Dolphins did. And
have two ones this year.
Well, they could have three. They could have three if they trade their second round pick. Okay, they could get 2 more first round picks for that pick. Okay, you may get like a 10 and a 25 or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done my homework as far as what teams have more than one first round pick this year. Or
I think, Jacksonville.
Yeah, but Jackson
from the Ramsey trade.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
And the Dolphins and the Jets.
See, the Dolphins, you could. Well, they're not going to trade 3 and 5.
Three and 5. What do you mean 3 and 5?
They're not going to trade 5 and 20. And what are they? 5 and 20 that they have?
The Dolphins are 3 and whatever their pick is.
Yeah. So the Dolphins. I mean, the Dolphins would be the team that Jets could make a deal with where it would work for them, because then they would be able to pick up an extra first round pick this year. I mean, if they could do something like that, yes, I would definitely do that. Especially if you only went down 1. But I just don't know what about Minnesota? Do they have any extra picks?
They just have the standard.
Okay, so Diggs was from last year. I can't remember who. There's no other team, I guess, who has more than 1 first round pick.
Yeah, and then Seattle, Houston, and the Rams don't have one.
They don't have any. Yeah, they don't have any.
Right.
So.
Anyway, Brad, we're 6 days away. We got 10 minutes left, 7 minutes left here on the Hounds tonight. Check out Flight Zone on right after us at 9:30. Great show. Brad, this tournament is field shaping up. Field's shaping up. We got Gonzaga on right now, the number 1 team in the country. They're playing St. Mary's in their conference quarterfinals. Actually, I have St. Mary's in this game, plus 18.5.
What's the score?
It's 5-2. It just started.
Oh, okay.
But and then I have BYU in the nightcap. So we got some West Coast Conference semifinal action tonight, taking us into the night. I like BYU minus 8.5 in the nightcap. I just won on UNC Greensboro. Let me tell you something, Brad. UNC Greensboro, I kind of like this team. They're athletic. They can rebound. They have some guys that can play somewhat above the rim. So, not really. It's still UNC Greensboro.
Okay. No.
There's one every year. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. There's always. Well, usually the one that is usually the team that shoots a lot, can hit a lot of threes and have one of those games where they hit a ton of threes and knock out some unsuspecting high seed team.
Yeah. Your Rutgers Scarlet Knights, I like that team a lot. They're probably going to be a lower seed. I think they can play. I really do. I think their coach is doing a good job. He's utilizing the transfer portal. They're getting guys. I mean, Rutgers, they have a good team. And, they kind of got robbed last year because of COVID. I thought they had a good team last year as well.
They definitely would have made the NCAA tournament. I mean, they had 20 wins last year, I believe.
Yeah, they're 14-10 in the Big Ten this year. Basically,
Ten.
all those. Yeah, Big Ten's the best conference, followed by the Big 12. Big 12 has a lot of good teams this year.
ACC is pretty disappointing this year, huh?
Oh, they're terrible. I mean, UNC and Syracuse are kind of coming on strong. Maybe Syracuse can win a couple games in this conference tournament and maybe sneak in. But, yeah, I mean, Virginia, I'm not buying Virginia. Florida State, they got robbed last year because they lost a couple of lottery picks on what I thought would have been a strong tournament team last year. And Duke is hard. Duke is not even – they're not even on the bubble anymore.
What about the Big East? What are we looking at with the Big East?
The Big East is weak. Creighton is good. Creighton's good. They'll probably be like a 5 or 6 seed. They can really shoot and really score. But, I mean, if they make a run in this tournament, I mean, you heard what happened with their coach, McDermott.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was more, but you can't. You're dressing the guys and using plantation. Like, that's just not a good look. But they can play, and the players seem to have his back. But, I mean, they're just going to have that black cloud over them if they have any type of success in the tournament. Like, everyone's going to be asking and worrying.
What about Villanova and St. John's, those two teams?
Nova lost 2 starters in their final game at Providence. Connor Gillespie, their star point guard, he tore his MCL. He's out. CJ Moore, he's another key contributor on the perimeter for him. He sprained his ankle, and that doesn't look good either. Maybe he can play. Maybe he'll just sit out the Big East tournament. But not having your starting point guard, and I didn't even like Nova to begin with. I think they're just missing that alpha dog on the perimeter that they had on some of their championship teams. But now, I mean, I'll be surprised.
He's had a pretty good pro career so far.
Who?
Mikal Bridges.
He's pretty good. Yeah,
He's not bad. Yep. Not bad.
But
What about Xavier? What are they looking like?
Xavier, they're squarely on the bubble.
Okay.
They can make it all better by winning a couple games in this Big East tournament, or they could even win the Big East tournament because Nova is just down and out. They are squarely on the bubble. It's really 50-50 on whether they're going to get in.
So it sounds like these tournaments are going to be huge for a lot of these teams. Seton Hall any good this year?
Yeah, they're another one. They're on the bubble as well.
They always seem to eke their way in every year, it seems.
They're a solid program.
Yeah, they are. If you consider how small a school that is, I mean, it's a tiny little school in Newark. It's pretty amazing how they're able to always be competitive. I mean, they do a nice job recruiting up there.
Well, they get guys, you know.
They always do. It's very impressive.
But yeah, I mean, and then you got the big guns. I mean, you got Gonzaga, you got Baylor, who I think's a terrific basketball team. I would say Baylor's the cream of the crop. I think they're the favorites right now.
Well, you also Illinois and Michigan are both really good.
I love Illinois. I don't know what it is about Michigan, and I love Martelli and I love Juwan Howard. I love their coaching staff, but I don't know. Something seems to be like missing. I don't know. They're a very good team. They're probably going to be a 1 seed.
What about Izzo's team? Michigan State.
They're on the bubble. But they're probably going to get in. They actually beat Michigan yesterday.
Okay, so they're probably
to shore up that resume. But I mean, they have a lot of talent. Michigan State's interesting because I think that they could, and this is cliche, and I hate doing this because they're a notorious tournament team. Like Izzo's team, they're always notorious for making runs, and I usually like to fade that. But they have a lot of talent, and they had a COVID shutdown in the middle of the season, and they just never seem to recover from it. They're not playing up to the talent they have. I mean, preseason, Brad, this is one of the contending teams. Like they talking about Michigan State being the champion.
Wow. So, you know what though? They can if they can get into the tournament. Who knows? They can get that intensity back and be a very dangerous team.
I like Oklahoma. I like this Oklahoma team a lot. Lon Kruger, they're big and strong, and they play good defense. If you haven't watched Oklahoma State yet this year, tune in, man. They have a point guard named Cade Cunningham, Brad. He's going to be the first pick in the NBA draft. He's spectacular.
Okay.
He's spectacular.
We'll be watching out for that.
And then next week, we've hired an intern, Chase Robbins. He's 10 years old. He's going to be on. He's going to give us his bracket picks. He's a college basketball savant. an absolute savant, Brad. He knows all the players. He knows all the teams. He knows all the stats. You come in, you're going to give us some bracket insight.
I'll have my questions ready for him.
Yeah. Ask Chase. If
Okay.
Chase don't know, nobody knows. Anyway, thank you to everyone who liked the show, subscribed to the show, commented on the show, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Instagram. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Until next Monday, he's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the program. Peace out, everybody.